even turned to the point of eating their own children. It was that bad. The 7th chapter of the book of 2 Kings starts out with these words. Then Elisha said, "Hear ye the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel in the gate of Samaria." Then our Lord, on whose hand the king leaned, answered the man of God and said, "Behold, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, might this thing be?" And he said, "Behold, thou shalt see it with thine eyes, but thou shalt not eat thereof." Time to be negative. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Who do we rely on? We're going to starve to death because of the king of Syria surrounding our land. We have no food to eat. And here this man of God got up and stood up and said, "We're going to have plenty of food tomorrow. Everything's going to be bargain priced." It's no wonder that this lord of the city spoke up and said, "Hey, you're crazy, man." And I'm putting my own words in there. "You're crazy, man." But I want you to read on. In the very next verse, and there were 4 leprous men at the entering of the gate. And they said one to another, "Why sit we here until we die? If we say we will enter into that city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. If we sit here, we die also. Now therefore come, let us fall into the host of the Syrians. If they save us alive, we shall live. If they kill us, we shall but die." They had no choice in the matter. In all 3 things was to face the power of death. I think that was a good reason. Let's give ourselves over to the enemy, that we might have food to eat. But if they kill us, we're going to die anyway. These men went into the camp. And when they went in, they found the camp of the Syrians empty. They had all run to the hills because during the night, God caused a mighty noise, and the Syrian army thought that the host of Israel was coming down upon them, and they ran to the hills for protection. They left their food, they left their horses, they left their things that tents and so forth. And boy, these 4 leprous men, they were having a ball. They took stuff from the tents and they buried it so that they might have it in the future. They started to eat and everything else, and all of a sudden, the 9th verse. Then they said one to another, "We do not well. This is a day of good tidings, and we hold our peace. If we tarry till the morning light, some mischief will come upon us. Now therefore come we go and tell the king's household." I want you to think just for a moment. 4 leprous men, despised by the city, outcasts. They had to live outside the city gates. But they began thinking about their responsibility. Let's go tell the people. Let's tell the people what we found here. And when they went and told the people, there was such a race to get out to the camp of the Syrians that the Lord that spoke up against Elisha was trampled to death. You know, God has a way. I firmly believe that God has an answer to every problem that we face. I firmly believe that if God is with us and helps us, that there's nothing that we cannot do for the Lord. In the book of Revelation, as it begins, we find Jesus appeared to John on the Isle of Patmos. Some great vision of the person of Jesus Christ, all symbolic. And then Jesus began to dictate the letters to the 7 churches of Asia, beginning with Ephesus. Only 2 of the 7 churches received any good words. One was Ephesus and the other was Philadelphia. And in the letter to the Philadelphians, and that's not Pennsylvania, that is in Asia. In that letter to the Philadelphians, he wrote these things, and to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these things saith he that is holy, he that is true. He that hath the key of David, he that openeth and no man shutteth, and shutteth and no man openeth. I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. Brothers and sisters, I firmly believe that we as Christians ought to pray that God will open the door in Holland with the church. For if God opens it, no man will be able to shut it. And if God opens that door and he tells us to jump through that open door, we better not sit there and just grunt. We need to go through that door. I tell this story, and I think I've told it here many times, and I'm going to keep on telling it. It has so much truth ringing in it. The idea that a shoe company one time got the bright idea of sending 2 shoe salesmen to different parts of Africa. Oh, this is back in the 1800s or maybe even earlier. And as they were there for a couple months, the one shoe salesman wrote and said, oh, there's just no business here. Nothing that I can do to be able to sell shoes because nobody wears shoes here. The other went back and said, hey, send all the shoes you can because the opportunities are great. No one wears shoes. Brethren, I want you to look around. Look at our neighborhood. Look at the things that take place. I think drugs are prevalent. I think the idea of church is a negative thought in the minds of many people. But I think that makes the opportunity great for the church. We have a message of salvation to give to a hopeless generation. We have the opportunity to be able to shout from the top of our hearts the glory of Jesus Christ, that God loves us, and that he gave his son to be able to die for your sins. He will give you hope. He will give you mercy. He will give you grace. All you need to do is to accept on God's terms that salvation that was given to us through Jesus Christ. We need to pray for that open door. We need to pray for workers to be able to lead us into the opportunities that beset the church. We need to get busy. For when you look out there in that community that we are a part of, there are souls dying without Christ, going to a Christless eternity. If you read the Word of God, that's not very pleasant. Scriptures that come to my mind, the Lord is not slack concerning his promise of the same men as some men count slackness, but is long-suffering to us, we're not willing that any should perish, that all should come to repentance. God is not willing that any should perish. Jesus said he's with us until the end of this age. We have the Holy Spirit within our hearts and our lives. Why should we fear rejection when they're really not rejecting us, they're rejecting Jesus? Again, they and all these things, Romans 8:37, they and all these things, we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. We are more than conquerors. We need to take the banner of the cross and march even into the gates of hell, proclaiming Jesus as Savior. Jesus can answer the problems in our lives. Jesus can lead. Throughout the rest of this year, I'm going to try to be as positive as I can. I'm going to try to encourage you as much as I can, in order that we as a congregation can see souls saved, not for our glory, but for the glory of Christ, who gave his all for us. We're going to be singing our song of invitation. Just as I am, first and last verses, if you will, please. If there's one here that is not a part of this congregation, would like to become a part of it. If you are an unimmersed believer, we ask that you come and be immersed in Christ. If you're an immersed believer, we just ask that you come and make your will known to man. But that's all. That's all. Challenge ourselves to go out in our community, live Christ, speak Christ, show Christ by all that we are. Shall we stand as we sing our song of invitation?